Okay, Linda, we are live, so.
Okay, I think it's you and me. I don't think anyone else has come in yet, right?
Right. I just wanted to make sure you knew that we were broadcasting to YouTube. We went started a little bit early so Rusty could see how we do it.
Okay, that's good.
And there's Rusty right there.
Hi there.
Okay, so basically that's all you have to do for setup. It pretty much runs itself from there. After the fact, you just go through, you'll click stop stream. They're going back up here. Stop live stream. Okay. Uh-huh. Go back to YouTube and click in stream. Okay. And then you're done. Once you get it started, set up, everything pretty much happens. So
It's just getting started. Yeah. Once it's going, I'll be fine.
Yeah. And there's some more topic.
How's it going?
Hi, Sarah.
Hey, Sarah.
We are finishing up. We ran late at Costco, so that's why I don't have the picture turned on. You would just see, oh, well, you have a more odd picture than I do, so it doesn't matter.
I see a few.
Hi, Lynn.
All right. Hey, Linda, how are you?
Good. And I see Harold is on as well. I'm waiting for a couple
I'm
of.
trying to get this. This thing's a bit cumbersome. Let's see what we get. Can you?
No, we do not see a picture of you.
All right. I'll hit start again and see what it says. We connect to your webcam computer. I'm not sure what it is. Start video again.
What platform are you on, Lynn?
I'm on my laptop, but we've got notoriously slow internet service here. I keep clicking start video and it says cannot connect your webcam.
Make sure the
Which
right
the camera's
webcam.
Okay, let me
Go to
Figure-
audio video.
I'm sorry.
Go to audio video. Top left-hand corner.
All right, top. Got it.
There should be a thing
Unmute.
for camera.
I see.
There should.
Thank you. I've clicked those.
Okay. You should be able to see camera in that drop-down box.
Yeah, and I click. Let's see what choices it's got. I may have more than one choice. It only has one choice. It's the wide vision camera. Yeah. It says camera, and it has one choice, which is a camera in the laptop. I don't know what it's doing. It just says it can't connect. Is the webcam installed properly? And I'm not using it to do anything else. I can see, of course, all of you. Well, what the heck? I could drop out and try to come back in and see what I get.
All right.
Hi, Carolyn.
Let's see, there's one more. Switch on here, connector. See what it does. Well, video again. What's doing? Try to come back. Let's see if I can do this.
Hi, David. I see that you are on, although I don't think you can talk to us, but welcome.
There's Sarah.
You're muted, Sarah, if you're trying to talk with us.
It's like the more technology I use, the worse I'm getting at it. Gosh, I was going to say your background, Ron. Where does that exist? What
Actually, right up the road.
does it?
There's a buffalo farm. I'd have to look the name up. Just up the road on the other side of Goshen.
Oh, that's neat.
They've got them lining the road going back into the farm.
That's funny.
I think that's Kentucky Bison, and I think it's
Starview Farm or something like that.
oh, okay.
Yeah, it is Kentucky Bison though.
Oh wow.
All right. So that's Christy Brown's farm, I think. Hers and Steve
And
Wilson.
that sounds familiar.
Oh wow.
Because they're into all that modern art and stuff. So
Got a white farmhouse that the store's in.
oh, you know what? I don't know that. So, okay. Well, I don't know if Lynn is trying to rejoin us. I'd like to give him a few minutes to rejoin us before we start the meeting.
I got till 5.
I'm sorry?
I said I've got till 5.
Oh, okay.
Oh, till 5. Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
After 5, we got a problem.
well, you stay here, Ron, till 5 and wait for Lynn. That'll be.
Oh, there's Lynn. Let's see if we can get a picture on this time. So what's the word, Lynn?
I don't know. I can see you.
Okay.
I'm not sure what else is going to. I've gone back through the second time. For some reason, it's not connecting to my camera, but I can see you guys and hear you guys.
Okay.
Yep.
I did not hear from Sally Schneider, John Evans, or Stuart Miles to find out if they are planning to attend today. So I think we should just go ahead and start our meeting, and if they join us, that's great.
The boss is in his office, so I'm assuming not.
Oh, okay.
There's Harold.
And there's Harold. This is the September meeting of the Prospect Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee. And I think we can call the meeting to order. So the first item on the agenda is to approve the minutes from the, oh, I see, I put on there. Yes, approve the minutes of the August 5th meeting. I sent the minutes out a couple of days ago. Sorry it took a couple of tries, but are there any changes, additions, corrections that need to be made? No? Okay. Then I guess we can move on to Parks update. I think if you read if you read the latest city newsletter, you know that we have repaired a lot of the storm damage to the trails in Harrods Creek and also Putney Pond and Woodlands parks. And special thanks to Sarah and her husband, and also Harold and daughter, Harold and his daughters, for joining the parks employees to finish that trail reroute. I went on it a couple of days after, and it just looks great. So we still have a couple of remaining items that need to be addressed, and I'm not exactly sure when we're going to be able to get them, but there's still a spot on the green trail that needs to be repaired. A part of the trail got washed away a little bit, and it's kind of at a gully where it sometimes has water after heavy storms. And I know Stuart was looking at trying to get to that in the next few weeks, so I'll have to circle back with Stuart and find out if he's got a plan for that, because I think he would want to have a couple of additional volunteers to help with that.
I'm going there with a group of 5 families on Saturday to walk all the trails because some people have not been there before, and I'll take a look at that. Do you know what mile marker on the green trail?
Oh dear, I should, but I don't. Do you have any thoughts, Ron, exactly where that is? If you stay on the green trail, and so I usually head down the red trail when we get to that first junction, but if you stay on the green trail going out, it's like the first kind of gully that you cross.
At the first stream crossing.
Okay.
And it's the place that Stuart had put some landscape fabric on the side of the trail where there was kind of a wall that was getting eroded, and that really helped for a couple of years to keep that from eroding further. But I think we just had so much water, it actually kind of washed out the trail. And you can still get across it. It's just a little more challenging than it was before.
Okay.
So
And Ron, seeing on the green trail, that one tree that was going right across, that the trail goes right under, has that been cut down, or do you know what? Is there anything we can do with that one?
That one is above our skill level,
Yeah.
so
Waiting for the fall.
we either need to let nature take its course or get somebody back there who knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
Because that's not something, if you don't know what you're doing, you shouldn't be messing with that one, because when it comes down, it's going to come straight down.
Yep.
So we don't be making any runs back there.
The kids think it's cool to walk under it, but
I believe, I'll have to go recheck. I think I sent an email to Grayson, or maybe Stuart was going to talk to Grayson about taking a look at that. The thing is, he'd have to have enough time to hike back to see about doing that one. But Ron, if you see, I don't know where we are, if we've got budget money that we could actually pay someone to do that.
Actually, I'm not sure where we're at right now. So
okay.
Last
So
meeting was a tad confusing. So
yeah, I hate to ask him to make a bid on that if we don't think we've got funding to pay for it. So I guess when all the dust with the approved budget, maybe we can kind of figure out where we're at and
Yeah.
how to apply those funds. So, and I'll talk a little bit about that in a bit. The other thing that we need that is not going to take a whole lot of work is to repair the little gravel trail that goes from the Putney Circle parking to the trailhead. And I know Lynn and I have talked about that a little bit. Maybe Lynn has more to add, but it's really a matter of taking up some of the landscape fabric where the gravel gets washed away, and then put the gravel back in place, maybe add a little bit to it so we can get kind of tapped down and worked into the trail. Because right now the landscape fabric makes it slippery when it rains and the gravel just washes off. So we do, and that's probably a 2-hour job, you know, if we had 4 or 5 people. So it's not that big a job, and it's flat and it's close to the parking lot. So that should be an easy one. It's just a matter of choosing a day and getting some volunteers. So that's what we have. Ron, anything else you want to say about trail repair or park maintenance?
Me, the guys, and Lynn have got the first section back in place and re-anchor with new and improved anchors.
I'm sorry, I'm having a little trouble understanding you. Can you start that again?
How's that?
A little better.
Okay. How's that? Is that better?
Okay.
We got new and improved anchors on the section that we had to replace. Lynn had secured a different type of anchor that we're going to be starting to install probably within the next 3 weeks. So
Good. And Lynn, thank you for your help in doing the repairs, helping Ron and his crew doing the repairs to the boardwalk.
We're good as gold now. We're as good as gold.
That's great.
it moves now. It was a whopper of a storm, I can tell you that.
Well, the fact that specific part has washed away twice, I think having it secured as well as you have with the anchors is going to make a big difference. So that's great. So, okay, the next item on the agenda is the park brochure, and I'm going to let Sarah talk a little bit about where things stand and where we go.
Yeah, so I've got the last 2 things that I had put in were the emergency evacuation points on the green and red trail. So we've got those in. Harold, I sent him a screenshot just to make sure that I understood what him and Ron were talking about. And so we're good to go there. And the rules on the back have been edited for the no smoking. And I think there was maybe one other thing that I can't think of off the exact top of my head, but those have been amended per what we talked about for the last meeting. And then I did want to bring up an idea. So Ron, I owe you the last quote final update of PDF, and then we can chat about whatever original files would be a better format for you. My thought is I took down there the day that Amanda Dewey, Lynn, is her first name Amanda?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So I took down there probably, a couple of days after Amanda Dewey had finished her part of her Eagle Scout project, the new kiosk in Harrods Creek Park. So I took down there a printed. I just went up and got it printed myself. Just the basically the full 11x17 brochure, 2 pages to be able to get front and back, and it's displayed in there. And my thought is that I called to get some pricing, but just to go ahead and get copies of the front and back brochure. So it'd be 2 pages displayed in each of the kiosks. And then also if we could put a PDF copy on the website, on Prospect's website underneath the parks section, so that if people go to the parks, there's a version of that exact map, so if they're down there, they can pull up on their phone, and I think right now on the bottom of the brochure, I still have left on there full PDF map. I think I preemptively put it on there, and I can remove it if we can't do it, but I think I preemptively put on there, full PDF version available on Prospect, ky.us or whatever the exact website is for actual Prospect. I did call for pricing just in general, Ron, because I'm not sure in terms of, it's not expensive, but I did call just to ask about, I couldn't remember what I had paid, but to print on like nice, like a printer, actual like professional print quality paper. So it's $1.38 per 11 by 17 color single sided. So it'd be $1.38 times 2 for each kiosk. And there's 4 kiosks total, 2 in Harris Creek Park and 2 in Putney Pond and Woodlands. If we got it professionally laminated, it adds $4.50 to that. So it gets it pretty expensive. And I don't think it needs to be quite fully laminated. They have waterproof paper where the full printing of that would be just shy of $4 per piece again. So that'd be just shy of $8 basically per kiosk. It would save a lot of money. Ron, I don't know if there's a capability for them to be professionally printed on the nice paper, nice solid ink or whatever for that $1.38. And so it'd basically be 8 copies total at $1.38 a pop. If the city could afford, could pay that, that'd be great. But I can go pay that out of my pocket. But I don't know if you have a laminator that would save on that cost.
I was going to say we could actually flop that. We could do the printing in house.
Okay.
I can actually print up to 24 inches wide now. I got
Oh, geez. Okay.
So we all we do is pick a size, and then we could pay to have it laminated somewhere else.
Oh, because you don't have a laminator.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So the only thing that maybe it would be, so it's now this was just FedEx I called. I'm sure there's other places. It just that's just normally where I go to get stuff printed. So it doesn't matter to me, but them just to laminate alone on 11 by 17 was $4.50. Like they're not printing anything. They're just laminating.
Mhm.
So if it's that expensive at other places, it might be worth looking at just getting them printed on that waterproof paper, which is it's lighter than laminate, but you can't tear it, and it's waterproof. So
Right.
it's the same
Right.
idea, but it would actually still be cheaper than laminate. But again, I'm only referencing the one I called one place, you know what I mean? So there may be cheaper actual laminate sources, but it may be cheaper to do a full print.
Actually, if we
if
get
somewhere has-
if we get a sample of the paper, I can see if we can print on it here.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, that I didn't even think about just purchasing the paper. I'd have to call back and ask. Obviously, that was not part of my my check. Okay, I'll check and see if I can just buy the sheets. I don't know. I don't know how that works, but
If you can find out what it is, I can price it, see what we can get it for.
okay, gotcha. Yeah, I had a feeling you all probably have venues that you do that. I just figured this would give us an off the top head to kind of chat about it's a low cost, but still a cost, to get something out there. And then I don't know, Ron, I think you're the one who does all the website stuff. I don't know how difficult that is to put the PDF version on there on the website, or if there is a way to put some kind of version on the website underneath the parks section,
We can figure it out.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll go ahead, whatever that was.
I would suggest let's laminate. It isn't a problem with it getting wet. It's a problem with humidity after a while. All paper curls and all of that. It can be a regular paper or maybe a cardstock, because once you laminate, there's not going to be any moisture getting to the paper, and it'll look nice for a long, long time. But I've seen things we've hung before, and after a while, they all kind of curl up because moisture doesn't get to it.
Yeah, I'm happy either way. I just just to throw it out there, some price. And I have not personally dealt with whatever the waterproof paper is. I'm sure it's some kind of new technology. So yeah, in terms of Lynn's point, I'm not sure if that's just the new wave of lamination without being stiff, no kidding, layer it in plastic, or if, like Lynn said, a tried and true lamination would be better.
Laminated will make the ink last longer because you're sealing the ink.
I have access to a laminator as long as we can get the plastic sheeting that's that big. Mine's just for a normal 8x11, but the laminator will work for a larger piece of paper if we can just get the plastic.
Oh, that should be a
Okay.
problem.
Okay. Well, Ron, if you want, that would kind of solve it. Would you? Okay, so I'll send you the final. So if I understand it all right, I'll send you the final PDF. That way you can look and make sure you guys can print it in house there. And then do you? I know nothing about whatever the plastic sheets for the laminate thing. Ron, is that something you'd be familiar enough with to be able to figure out?
Yep, I'll look into it.
Okay, I'm not trying to add anything to your plate, so let me know.
Oh, sure.
Well,
Actually, believe it or not, in one of my other lives, I had 20 years in printing. So.
Oh well, heck, well, there you go. Well, you should have been telling us about the.
Oh no, I was going to sit back. Let's.
Okay, well,
Ron, I'll come get the sample from you then, and then I can practice laminating it, make sure we're good and we're happy with it whenever we got everything ready.
Okay, when I get home, Ron, give me 20 minutes or so, and I'll send you the full PDF. And like I said, we can get back together and let me know whatever other source type things you need. But the PDF that should at least get us moving in the direction for getting it in the kiosks, at least to start and online.
Sure.
Sounds good. Thank you, Sarah. A couple of other sort of miscellaneous parks update. I know that Sarah just said that she has identified the evacuation locations, but unless something's happened, we still don't have signs on the trails themselves. Is that correct?
That's correct. There's no signs.
So can we get that done? I just, obviously, you know where they are. I don't know if Ron and Harold have come up with exact wording, but especially if we're going to publish if there are evacuation locations, we really need to have them identified on the trails. So I don't know if the two of you can work to get that done. That would be great.
Absolutely. I was trying to look at the last email we sent. Ron and I sat back and forth and see what wording we have, but I'll get with him specifically and we'll finish that.
Okay, that sounds great. The other thing I have is that at our last parks meeting, I mentioned that there was some discussion at City Council about trying to research and maybe have a study done to see what our options are in terms of Putney Pond, which, as we all know, has been silting in over a number of years. And there were some suggestions that money be set aside in the budget for a study. First thing that I did reach out to the Kentucky Waterways Alliance. I had a preliminary discussion with Ward Wilson, who is the executive director, who had agreed to meet Ron and me at the pond, but then his schedule did not allow that to happen until before my surgery, and I'm not in a situation where I can do that right now. But he did say that he had some thoughts about it, and one of the things that he remarked is that actually a wetland supports more biodiversity than a pond does, and that should be part of our consideration. I think a lot of us, me included, would like to still have a pond there, at least at some size. But the other thing that occurred to me when the council was into budget discussions is that we do have a conservation easement on that property, and we need to make sure that that sort of action is allowed under the conservation easement. I've got a copy of the easement, and as I read it, we would be allowed to do this, but I have sent an email to the Kentucky Heritage Land Conservation Fund to ask them to let me know if this activity would be allowed or what sorts of activity would be allowed. And what sorts of approvals we might need to have from them. Because I would hate to run down this road and find out, oh, we aren't allowed to do it anyway because we agreed to this easement. The easement says that erosion and soil deposition or other pollution caused by human activity or natural conditions originating within or outside the property may be controlled by the grantor as necessary. So that says to me we ought to be able to do it. I have not heard from them. And in the city budget that was just approved for second reading a couple of days ago, any money for a study of Putney Pond was removed from the budget. So we don't have any money anyway. I guess we should decide if we still want to pursue consulting with people to at least have an idea of what our options might be and what it might cost for an engineering study to be done, if that's what it would have to be. I hate to jump through a whole lot of hoops if we're never going to have money to do anything. But on the other hand, it might be nice to know if there are options and what those options would be. So I'd like to sort of open that up for discussion and get your feedback, your thoughts on how or if we should proceed. So.
Wondering if the Kentucky Land Heritage Council might have any ideas for the pursuit of grants.
I think that's true. And the one thing I asked Harold of Kentucky Waterways is if he knew of any grants that might be available. Other comments or thoughts?
Yeah, Sarah, my thought, I know it was, I think what Frank Fulcher had maybe estimated was, and it sounded like in the meeting he wasn't aware of, I guess, the parks discussing it, but so I think he was pushing for it, but he thinks it'd be $50K to do a study. And from what I gathered is that it was removed from the budget, but as a priority to put back in if there was an ability or future funds, which it sounds like there would be, to be able to put that back in. My only thought is, and this could just be me personally, is if it's somebody touched on it where it was a fear of, it might have been Sandra who talked about like if people downstream of that particular area, if they would be increased in terms of flooding issues or something like that if we didn't do anything with it. But I do think that would be something we could call MSD, because that is a drainage thing of that area, and maybe get their opinion if we didn't do anything. What now they may say, who knows what would happen, but that would be a free resource. My only thought with spending the $50K on the study is, like Linda mentioned, it may not even be something that we're potentially allowed to do, but it's $50K to do the study, and it's going to be, I'm sure, hundreds of thousands to potentially build back a whole new pond. And while I'm an advocate for having the sort of fishing holes and just the beauty of the park and whatnot, but I'm almost on this point, there are so many spots that are good fishing in Harrods Creek that the pond, if it turned into wetlands, you could almost, if with more biodiversity, we could transition to educational points down by the pond that had, okay, this is, the specific Kentucky wildlife. This is the change in diversity. I think we could talk to Linda, your contact with the Kentucky Waterways Alliance, and ask, okay, what is local to here, especially Ron, and Linda, I know you all know what's local to here, but the kind of, hey, this is the flora and the fauna, and these are the animals, and hey, this is what happens to nature when it silts in. Ponds do naturally turn to wetlands over time. Nature takes it back. That's just what happens, to be quite honest. So nature.
Oh, you're muted, Sarah. You muted yourself. I don't know.
Sorry, we turned the car up. I apologize. Thank you.
Oh.
Did you hear the part? I think you heard down to like nature made. If it determines to be a wetland, I think even if we spend money, nature's not going to care. But that could be years down the road. Yeah, I got it. So I don't know. That's my long-winded 2 cents about. I am torn about it, but at the same time, I I am more personally on the side of I'm not seeing a huge benefit of forcing nature back into being a pond, but maybe embracing it and using that as an educational opportunity down by the pond. It's still beautiful, and use it as a way to maybe focus some nature walks down there, or get groups of kids or adults and have signage up that could explain more local stuff, you know, a more sort of immersive little nature museum, if you will. I don't know. Those are my thoughts.
I agree with you, Sarah. We got to make the decision on which way do we want this to go. Do we want it to be a pond? And then if we do, that's fine. How much are we going to spend on it? We need to know whether a study's done or not. And I think a lot of the cost is when they dredge it, they got to put that silt somewhere. It's not like they could just move it and build a pile up here. So that's, I think, apparently what the huge cost would be. And then how long until it's going to be a wetland again? And how often is this going to be a recurring thing? Is this what we want to keep it forever? Or do we go, like you said, just a wetland because there are fishing areas around here? So I agree with you.
Yeah,
Just gotta make that decision. Go ahead.
it seems to me that, before we spend $50,000, which we don't have right now to spend anyway, but it sounds like we have gotten some informal opinions on what it would cost to dredge it and renovate it, so to speak. And I mean, I've heard quotes anywhere from hundreds of thousands to over $1 million. So I think probably before we would want to even commit to a $50,000 study, we might want to get some more informal opinions on what kind of cost we would be looking at, because I would hate to see us spend $50,000 on something we're never going to do anyway. It would just seem kind of like money down the drain at this point, and there are other things that we might want to spend money on in the parks other than that. So that's just kind of my thinking at this point.
Ron, you might be able to answer this question. One of the questions that occurred to me is, I know we own the pond and the dam, the roadway across the dam. I'm not sure if we own the spillway. Do you know that? I don't know if, and if we do, I mean, maybe the city owns it. I don't know if it's part of the pond property. Oh, you're muted, Ron.
Sorry, I'm trying to do about 5 things here.
Yeah.
I know we own the spillway. Hold on a sec. But I'm not sure how far down. Let me pull it up on Logic real quick.
You mentioned that you thought MSD was responsible for the culvert.
They have done work on that culvert in the past.
And I don't know if you've got a contact. I mean, I don't know if we should be talking to MSD, as Carolyn or someone mentioned. It is part of the drainage. There's always going to be water going through that land because that's Little Honey Creek, and it's always going to end up in Harrods Creek at the marina, or wherever it comes in. But I don't know if MSD has any kind of.
We do own all of that.
Okay, I don't know if MSD has any interest.
But that being said, that is a blue line stream, which means it falls under their jurisdiction. So.
And do you know if the Army Corps of Engineers would have to be involved in anything that we might do to intervene?
I do not know that. I would hope not.
Yeah.
Things just got a whole lot more complicated if they are.
Do you have a contact at MSD? Or, I mean, I could always call Steve Emily and ask him who we should talk to at MSD, because
that would probably be the best route, because Steve would know the most direct person to go to, because mine's kind of an in general thing.
I've got his email address. I could maybe talk to him and just see what MSD's interest is in it, because that might affect the route that we
It's
go.
possible they may want to dredge it out for storm retention, but
Well, that's what I'm wondering. You know, if it all fills in, that means that much more water rapidly going to
uh-huh.
Harris Creek in a storm.
And more silt in there.
And
It's
more
great
silt.
because it does catch the silt
Yeah.
to some degree before it goes in there. It's great. So,
Yeah, I think.
I'm sorry, sir. Go ahead.
No, Ron, I was gonna say, yeah, no, that to me sounds like just because it is a city resource, and I've worked with MSD a bunch just out at our house, so I understand there's another layer of kind of coordination upon coordination upon coordination, but and that may prove fruitful. I'd also, I'll volunteer to just kind of Google around also as from our other spectrum of leaning into it being a wetland, if that's the route we go, and just, I mean, there's a ton. We've traveled to places I know where I've seen stuff like that, where they've had little educational centers of ponds turning into wetlands, and they've been real neat. But I can just Google just some kind of like, these are some ideas of ways we could kind of lean into it if we went that route.
That'd be great.
What if we contacted MSD to attend our next meeting and kind of give us, his top of mind suggestions?
If I can get in contact with someone and they're willing to do that, I think that'd be great. We need to, I'm sure they'd need to meet with someone, maybe Ron at the pond to kind of look at it.
Right. And doesn't, I mean, you may have a good contact there, either Ron or Linda, but I know Stuart does as well.
Well, when Steve Emily was the chief engineer for MSD, when that force main sewer line went through Harris Creek Park, so that's who our contact is. He retired and he failed at retirement, but he works for QK4 now. But he has always been very good at answering questions about who to contact. So I think Steve would still be very much in touch with people at MSD and could lead us in the right direction. Do you agree, Ron? Do you think
I do.
He's a really good guy.
Harold, do you happen to know, just so we're, since we're talking about contacting a lot of people, to kind of get a full scope of what we're looking at, do you happen to know when Frank was talking about it at the budget meeting, he sounded like he had a future vision, something in mind. He didn't say what it was, or I might have missed it. Do you know what he mentioned? Like, it could be used in multiple ways or more recreation. He kind of implied like transitioning Putney Pond into something, which we may not be able to do. But is that something you're able to speak to so that we make sure we're either addressing that to keep the council up to date of what's written in the conservation thing, or basically we can keep researching what the overall ideas are? Do you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I talked to him a little bit about it, and I can try to find out some more. He just wanted to know what the public, what we all City of Prospect residents wanted for the area. Because if dredging and making it continue a pond, and that's where we're at. Kind of like what I said earlier. He wants to know what we want for the future of it.
Okay. He didn't have like, he wanted to make it like an ice skating rink in the winter. I'm joking that, but he didn't have like
he's not going to go there no matter what it is.
Okay.
Unless it's a golf course.
Okay, so maybe he's like, this could be a good it'd be like a water hole, and okay. No, I was just curious. I wanted to make sure we were covering. I was like, well, maybe he had something in mind that we're totally missing. Okay.
I think you want to make sure that everyone's on the same page, whatever direction we want to go. If it's a pond,
gotcha.
Yeah.
If it's a wetlands, go. Okay, whatever. All right, gotcha. Thank you.
Okay. Well, I think we've got some ideas of direction there. So, Sarah, if you're willing to look at biological succession and that sort of thing, and I'll try to get a contact with MSD and follow up. I've never gotten a response from the Kentucky Heritage Land Conservation person, but I can try to reach out to her again and see if we can get make sure we know what the easement allows us to do. That'd be great. The only other thing I have related to parks update is that in the fall, it's always a good time to do some more invasive plant removal. After the native plants lose their leaves, that's a good time to go in and work on the bush honeysuckle again, cutting and putting herbicide on the cut stems. I think Jacqueline McGrail is willing to kind of spearhead that again. I don't think I'll be able to participate actively this year unless my recovery goes really fast. But you know, we keep working at it in the fall and in the spring, and then I don't know. Everything's been a little bit up in the air. I don't know if we're ever going to get around to Tree of Heaven. I know that that's still on the list of things to do, and I don't know if Ron's got any thoughts on that.
It's still there. Hopefully we'll get some decent weather here in a few weeks, and we can go back there and start whacking on it.
Okay. Does anyone have any other parks updates related items to talk about?
I'm emailing you right now the emergency evacuation point sign thing. It's just an example, but we can come up with something together. Maybe it looks a little bit fancier, but just the wording I think is pretty much what you're looking for, right? Yeah. Okay.
Great.
Just a
Okay.
quick question, Linda, do you know if the trail run is planned for this year?
I have heard nothing, and I think they probably are not doing it this year. I talked to Zach and, I can't remember the other person that works with him. They did a trail run earlier this summer that was not really a virtual, but it was a kind of an independent thing. It benefited some organization, but basically they gave everyone some kind of a GPS tracker to tie on their shoe, and they committed to running, you know, so many miles. I just don't see a way to do it this year. Would you agree, Ron?
It's possible to do it, but it would be really, really difficult. The start and the stop is where the biggest social distancing problem would come in. I don't see it being feasible, really. Now, comes up with a plan. I mean, I'd be willing to listen to it. But
And I think the fact that we haven't heard anything from Zach right now, I'd be happy to send him an email and see what he's thinking, but you know, maybe in the spring. I just don't see how we could do one in the fall this year.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to do it if it's not in the best interests, you know, under COVID to try that. And like Ron said, with the social distancing issue at the start and finish, it just might not be a good idea. So I don't know that you need to send him an email that might be perceived as, you know, encouragement. But maybe just wait and see if you hear from him, and then we can reconsider.
there's no way you'd be able to do a shotgun start like they normally do.
Right. And people pass each other on the trails. Harold's run it, so he knows. But you know, people are, because there's.
I've never passed anybody.
Oh, okay.
That's because you're always out in front.
Now, yes, he's always out in front. That's right. I think Harold was like 15th or something in the total runners, so he's a fast one.
It was lap 2 that as actually would be the problem when, you know, the runners like me, they were doing the 2 laps, catch up with the walkers, and then we're.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's move on to the Scout update. Lynn, you're on.
Okay. Of course, Amanda Duty's completed her project. Nate Jackson, I know, has had emails back and forth, and Ron, I've always been in contact with you. And what's really funny with him, he'll talk to Ron on a Wednesday, and then 10 days later wants to know, is the ground still good yet? And so I have asked him to contact you and then to contact you again like the day before. Like if he's going to work on a Saturday, maybe calling you the day before to see what it looks like. Because he emails me and like, how am I going to know how to answer with the ground? He's dying to get a tractor back up there to get that gravel spread. So I haven't heard from him yet this week. Don't know if you have or not, but
I have not.
That's where Nate is. We've got Natalie Young is the next one, the Troop 30 young ladies coming up. And she's also attending school at U of L, and she plans every minute of every day. And so she's planning to do a project a week from this Sunday, and she's going to build the picnic tables and then install them up there past the parking lot up the hill, the area that we looked at. The funny thing is, from where I sit, is normally scouts will build stuff one weekend and install it the next. And on her schedule, she can only do this in one day. So what she's planning to do is bring in multiple work crews, have one group up on the hill putting the gravel and the border in, and another group down in the parking lot building the picnic tables. I had a question, Ron, do we have 110 power at that building? Is there accessible 110 power
Yes.
down there?
Yes, there is.
Okay, I just didn't. She might have a need for a chop saw to cut the wood and all with, and that might help. And then the other issue is gravel would need to be brought out and dumped on the 18th. And I'm assuming down at the end where that gate is, we can go through that and just put it off to the side. They would actually come, if it's dumped on that Friday, they would come back and start working with it on that Sunday. And I think we can do it in a manner that if a vehicle needs to get through, that the gravel will not pose a problem to a vehicle going by it if it has to.
Yeah, that should be fine.
Does that work?
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll get together and you can show me exactly where you're thinking on putting it. But yeah, that's
Okay.
Very doable.
We have another young lady, Juliet Cabral, and she's also with Troop 30.
Can
One
I-
of the things these,
Lynn, can I?
I'm sorry?
interrupt you for a minute? I'm just wondering,
Sure.
on the weekend that Natalie is planning to work, do we need to have a couple of parking spaces blocked off if they're going to have a crew by the building trying to build the tables? And Ron, how would we make that happen if they did need a couple of spots?
When we were down there last time, when we were down there last time, we took a little space right in front of the building. It's not a marked parking spot, and cars still could go by us and all that because we had the truck parked there and we were putting that kiosk in. So I think she can have a work area and not take a single parking spot. So we'll go back and give that a shot. I'm also most concerned, can she get all this work done or not? I told him, here's what I would focus on is make sure I get the gravel all first. If for some reason you don't get the picnic tables all made, you can come back another day and do that. But I don't want to see us leave that pile of gravel there. We've got one more scout, Juliet Cabral. These young ladies who were the first to join the Boy Scouts as scouts, there's an amount of time that you have to take minimum to get all the requirements to make Eagle. Well, for all those who joined in the first class, that time is this October. And so all three of these young ladies are trying to get Eagle projects in to see if they can all be in the very first class of young ladies turn Eagle Boy Scouts for America. So Juliet, right now, I just got an email this morning from her. Do we have anything else we can think of right now that we need to have done anywhere in our park system that we could turn into an Eagle project? And that's just a question. Anybody's got a thought, let me know. But she's most eager to go back and get started on that. And then, as Ron mentioned a little while ago, we bought a different type of anchor, and we're looking at anchoring just 2 or 3 sections where the water seems to flood right through the most, stop those from moving. I think we can get those done. And then we've got enough anchors on hand that I'm hoping between now and say sometime in November to have every single plank in that first section of Eagles Way all secured. When we first started doing this, on each 8-foot section, we were putting 2 anchors in the middle. We've got them now, Ron. I'm doing 2 at each end, which gives us 4. And I think what that also does, it holds the walking structure and platform down on top of those timbers. Those timbers have got rebar going through them down to the ground about 3 or 4 feet. As long as we can keep that held down, then maybe it doesn't move so much. So what it does do, it doubles the amount of anchors we thought we'd be putting there to begin with. Not counting the ones that just were installed, we probably have about 92 more of these things to put in, but we'll have that entire thing done. And then also with Natalie, she's ordering timbers for and the cedar for her picnic tables. We've added some additional wood to that to get some more planks and all. I walked the boardwalk probably 2 weeks ago. It's really in pretty good condition considering some parts of it now are over 5 years old. And so, but we do have a handful of boards here and there that are a little worn. And my intent is during the winter to get down there and replace all of those and have it as in good as new condition as it was 5 years ago when we started this thing. So overall, like I said, I think we can make it new and keep it in one place. That's our goal. And that's all I've got.
Lynn, thank you very much. I've talked to a lot of young families, and picnic tables are awesome. It'd be nice to have one or two picnic tables that kind of are all of our parks, so or just wherever it's not in a flood zone, they're not going to get washed away or anything. Picnic tables are great. People love them.
So we have 2 picnic tables at near the dam at Putney Pond. We've got 2 picnic tables in Little Hunting Creek, Ron?
It's just down to 1. I think 1 got washed away. At least last time I walked through there, Ron, there was only 1.
And we'll have 3 at Harrods Creek Park. I guess I'm wondering where else we could put. I agree with you. My grandkids love having a picnic down there. But I'm wondering where else we could actually put.
The ones in Little Hunting Creek Park are on the City Hall side of the creek.
Yes.
Would there be any reason to put them on the other side of the creek? I see kids right where that little waterfall is, where we got the benches. Families are there all the time. Kids fish there. They just love to go there. Would it make sense to put something near there? And that area is a little higher. I don't think we get the flooding there that we do a little bit lower when you enter into the boardwalk. Is that true, Ron?
No, actually, that is pretty much a floodway.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Yeah, I've got pictures of the entire field underwater.
And do you remember a few years ago when the blacktop came off
Right.
Fox Harbor Drive? It was right there.
Right.
Yep.
It doesn't happen as often as it does on the nearer to the creek, but when it does, it's moving. I'd have to recommend against that. It's a nice little open spot, but they might be picking them up down the creek.
Would it be wholly unattractive to put just a pair close to where there's 2 sets of trash cans out in Cali Park, but they're not in the way of other stuff. But where you have face painters who bring their own tables in during the fall festival and all that. Would that be a like there's the gazebo to sit, but there's nowhere if you took food like my daughter and I went and had a picnic and I just put a blanket down and we ate there, and the trash cans, it was great, but I was like, oh, maybe a picnic table, but I don't know, it may ruin kind of the green space.
I agree with you, Sarah, and say Cali Park.
That's not a bad idea.
I mean, because they always can be moved when we have our events.
Exactly.
That's what or use, because like I said, I think the face painter for one of those, the guy I think brought his own table, either that or the city brought a table down there, but that'd be a great.
Yeah, that park's large enough. I mean, it could have 4 scattered along. Sidewalk 5 feet in, whatever.
Yeah.
If we do 4, and I assume at the park, we wouldn't be doing all the gravel and all that we've done the other locations, a little bit different there.
Right.
If we're just setting 4 picnic tables, that's not a bad Eagle project. Is that something, Ron, are we okay? If we're okay, I'll be talking to this young lady's family in the next few days.
Why don't, can we get together and meet up there and see what we're thinking? Because it's always, it always sounds good when you're thinking about it. Then you get up there and you're like, ooh, well, maybe that's not a good place, or this would be a good place. So I think it'd be advisable to get up there and take a look at it.
Yeah. Probably would be good to check with the mayor and Laura just to make sure that there's no
meet with her, and we'll try to set a time, Ron, to meet you, say sometime next week. Oop.
Next week I am gone. I will be back next Tuesday. So next Tuesday, the 22nd.
Okay.
As a backup, would it be something to keep in mind, either another bench, and Lynn, I don't know if you all do this, but another bench along the sidewalk near Cali Park, or in that area where we couldn't put the picnic tables by Little Hunting Creek, by where the trash can is on Fox Harbor, those benches that have the ones that are normally by the creek that have the slats through them, to let all the water, so water doesn't sit on top of them. They're kind of like flat benches.
Yes.
So Cali being different with like a back to sit if the picnic tables look, like if it's like, ooh, the hill is, if the grade of the land just doesn't work. But another bench around there, I've noticed would be nice. Or
Permanent benches up there would be a great idea. As, as opposed to picnic tables.
there's at least one I know that needs a little rehab, but I know, Lynn, you all don't do the rehab piece of it. But in terms of adding, I think there's only one. I could be wrong though, but I think there's just the one dedicated bench in the loop. Are there more?
There's none up there right now because we brought the one back here because it was getting ready to fall apart.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the legs were going to come off of it. Yeah.
Which I'm not sure if that's going to be savable, unfortunately. So.
Well, at least the plaque should be then, at least, I guess.
There's a design
Go ahead, Lynn.
a different bench design that we have built for Creasy Mahan Park, which might look good up at Cali. But and I think you guys might like it. I'll get some photos of this to everybody. But it sounds like right now there's enough interest to tell this young lady, no approvals yet, but we think we can do something. And then Ron, I can follow up with you after you get back.
Okay.
Lynn, here's another fallback idea. I had always thought it would be good to have another bench on the Blue Trail near where the blue and green trail intersect, at the top of the hill, kind of overlooking the creek, where you can see the creek, especially in the winter when the trees are cleared, because you have people doing the whole red and green trail, and then you have people coming up from the creek on the Blue Trail, and a little rest stop would be nice right there in that section. Does that, and we've talked about this before in the Parks Committee meeting, and we just never have had a scout, ready to do that kind of project, because there's always been a priority.
Moons ago, we had 2 different scouts build 5 benches each for a total of 10 and place them all throughout the park. So the nice thing about them, and particularly even in the wintertime, is they can build them in a garage or at home, and then another day come out and set those. So we can put benches pretty much anywhere you want to put a bench.
Yeah, I would just love to see it in that section, because there are lots of benches. There are numerous benches along the Orange Trail, but that intersection area is where one would actually be.
Guys, I gotta go, but I'll see you later. Okay.
Thanks, Harold.
Bye, guys.
Take care.
But that area is one that a bench would actually be, I think, useful for people who'd like to just stop and catch their breath before going on. So
the whole reason for a bench in a park.
Right.
Good idea.
Only foreseeable problem I could see with that is digging the footers for it. There's a lot of rock up there. A lot of rock. We'd probably have to do some probing around to find a suitable spot. But... And hey, scouts have young backs, so.
Rock's still bad news.
Yeah.
Do scouts use explosives?
Not that we're willing to admit to just yet.
It's got to be part of the training. It's got to be.
Oh dear. Well, that sounds like a great plan to have benches or picnic tables in Cali. I think would be great, because we've really never done anything to improve Cali, and that's the most visible park in the city. So
we can do something.
That's great. Let's talk about our next meeting day and time. I'm assuming it's still going to be virtual. In October, the council meets on the 19th. So we should probably meet a week or two before then, just so we have something to report to council. Does anyone have I can't remember, I think we've met on Wednesdays, we've met on Thursdays. I don't know, Ron, what the best time is for you to host, and availability.
Right there, I am open both. The week before, I'm open every day.
Okay.
So I have no
Starting
preference.
the 12th, which City Hall's closed on the 12th, but you're
Right.
saying the rest of that week?
What do you think about the 15th? That's a Thursday.
Does that work for everyone?
Yeah.
I should be good.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's mighty fine.
Do we want to, is 2 o'clock a good time, or do we need to look at something different?
Jeff's in town that
2
week,
o'clock's
so
good.
I'm good with whatever for that week. Yeah.
I'm sorry, so did we agree 2
Yes.
o'clock? Okay.
Yes.
All right,
Fine.
great. Does anyone have any other business?
No.
Nope.
Okay, I think we can be adjourned, and I hope everyone has a great rest of your day.
Hey, guys.
Thanks,
Bye.
See you
everybody.
all.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks for a good meeting.